And welcome in. It is Strategies for Living. It is the first day of the rest of your life. I'm your guest strategist, Tom Pace, from the Talk of the Town, right here at Bossier Parish Community College, the big audiovisual department high atop the third floor, where we outlook over there, and there is the Billy Wayne Montgomery gymnasium and all of that. And you know what? It's a beautiful day. Can you believe it's going to get up to 61 degrees today? But guess what? Tomorrow the bottom's going to fall out. It's going to get cold, and that's nothing compared to what's happening over there in up there in Minnesota and the Great Plains. But I digress. Today is, let's see, the 28th day of January 2019, and you know, I'm just a guest host. The man who started this, the man whose vision it was, the man who no one else should be compared to other than the great David McMillan, is the man that made Strategies for Living.
Let's tone that down just a little bit.
Okay, fine.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Look, I got you. You've done a great job so far. Thank you so much for being a magnificent host here on Strategies for Living.
Wait a minute.
Keeping it going.
Would
yeah,
you,
write it down.
Would you say that in a pen? Okay, good. Thank you. It's my humble pleasure, because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that do a lot of things. David, you are one of those that is a pioneer.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, we started the Strategies for Living started as a radio program 25 plus years ago.
And I was there.
On Keel. And we had the opportunity we started daily, Monday through Friday. And as the years evolved, broadcasting and radio changes. We went to Saturdays, we went to Sundays, we were a weekend show. Back the first of last year, we had the opportunity to go back on daily radio on Keel.
I heard 5 days a week.
5 days a week, actually 6 days a week, because we still broadcast on Sunday mornings between 9 and 10.
Do you really?
And we're live every Monday through Friday.
Well, you hope you are anyway.
Well, I read the obituaries every day to make sure that I'm not there.
Me too.
And that kind of feeds into what I think you want to talk about today. Matter of fact, I'll give you a story about reading the obituaries, but I joke that, you know, I go and I get a cup of coffee and read the paper, and just to make sure that I'm not in the obituaries, because if I'm there, I don't want to go to work.
I'm the same way.
I'm taking off.
David, and the sad news is there are many people who have read the obituary, saw their name by accident, and they're calling up their friends. Wait a minute. I'm still here. David, today's subject is going to be a little heavy, ladies and gentlemen, and so we're going to get to it in about 4 minutes. We're going to talk about what is the one thing that you always say at the end of your broadcast.
I don't know how many years this has been, but I didn't do it right away 25 years ago when we started the radio show. This was not my sign-off. But at some point, over 15, maybe 20 years ago, I started signing off each show. If today were the last day of your life and you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call and what would you say? And why are you waiting? It's a reminder to me of that I'm not guaranteed one more minute. I'm not guaranteed one more day. That this life is a gift, and I can't take it, I shouldn't take it for granted. I'm here today, and I have life and breath and energy, so I've got to do what I can do today.
If you've got, well, I want you to think about that. Who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? I want you to think about that, but I'm going to talk about something right now that seems to be on the minds of everyone.
Right.
Well, not necessarily everyone, but there are a few thousand, could I say 100,000 fans of the NFL, the illegitimate bowl that will be played in next Sunday, this coming Sunday. You know, I did a radio show. I do a radio show on Saturdays,
Right.
and I did a story about those quasi-referees, whatever you want to call them, the zebras. And we've seen the meme where they have, you know, like dark glasses and they've got a white cane,
Right.
like they can't see.
Right.
And when I started that segment, I played three blind mice. And
I'm just glad I wasn't mic'd up when I was watching the game.
yes, you and me both.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, and the other thing, and this is just for something you all to think about, there were 4 of that crew under Bill Vinovich, the referee's crew, that were from California.
Right.
And one of those crew members actually used to play football for the Los Angeles Rams.
I didn't know that. Didn't
Oh
know that
yes,
piece.
oh yes, and but they're all from Los Angeles. And, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, chances are it's an illegitimate call.
Well, you know, that may be, Tom. I think we have to, and certainly I know it's the Super Bowl. I know it's important.
It's one game. It's the game.
It is a game.
No, it's the game.
Well,
Ask
see,
the
I think
Saints.
sometimes that's where we lose our perspective.
Oh.
I think that's sometimes in life where, and again, I'm not taking away from the importance of the non-call, but I also think we need to balance that with there are a lot of things in life that are important.
You're going to say there's something more important than the game.
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot more important than the game.
And I feel you, as they say, and I still don't know who they are. I feel you, and I understand what you're talking about. In fact, that's going to lead into this other subject.
Right. Yeah, on radio and TV, and we have to have things to talk about, obviously.
Well, but I mean that's a
It's a big thing. It's a big thing that we're talking about.
Yes,
it's
it
a big
is.
thing that a lot of people are talking about.
That's what I'm getting at. But you know what? What hurt my heart this past weekend, and I sadly I teared up, David, when I learned that a young man in South Louisiana around Ascension Parish had murdered his own parents
Right.
in cold blood.
Right.
He had gone there after he had murdered his girlfriend
Right.
and her boyfriend and her daddy. 5 lives he took, allegedly, like that.
Right.
And he was still on the run, went to Virginia, was about to draw down on the grandmother's house 1,000 miles away, and she was staying in a hotel. She was staying in a hotel because she had heard the word that the boy
Might be heading her way, huh?
could be Dakota Theriot, T-H-E-R-I-O-T, but the pronunciation of French, Theriot, not Theriot. And so he was on his way. She went to a hotel, called the sheriff. Sheriff, would you check my house? I don't know, is it safe? They go there, and just about the time they get there, the young man pulls up, he's got a gun, he's pointing it, and they draw down on him, and they said, put your weapon down. He did. Now he's in custody. I say this, David, to get your feedback. Those relatives of those people that were killed will never see their loved ones again. Did those loved ones have any idea that was going to be their last day on earth?
Well, obviously not. Obviously not, and that's the whole point. We don't ever know. And, you know, whether we're young or old, wherever we are in life, we don't know. And death is many of us are afraid of that whole idea. I don't really think there's a whole lot to be afraid of.
I don't either, but I mean...
But in any case, there are a lot of people that are fearful of it. and we're not guaranteed. So, you know, the real question becomes, how do I want to live today? How am I going to live my life now? Because now is all I've got. You know, psychologically and emotionally, I suppose, we all live in a 3-room house. And that's all we have, psychologically.
Give us, you're using a paradox here.
We have our 3 rooms are the past, the present, and the future. And if we really did live in a 3-room house, we'd use all 3 rooms, wouldn't we?
Theoretically.
Yeah, but it's important to understand what happens in each room. In that room of the past, people tend to spend a lot of time in there. And the thing is, you know, like you were there just a moment ago with the Saints game.
Yes.
The lights turned on in there. It's illuminated like these television lights are on us.
They're quartz lights, by the way. The old days, they had the big bulbs.
You can see very clearly. The problem is that in that room of the past, even though everything is illuminated, you can't change anything. You can't move anything. And so if I allow myself too much time in that room, I'm going to get angry and depressed, because nothing will change.
You know what this stands for?
It means we got to take a time out. It means you got to go to break.
That's, well, you know, and that's what the coaches do for the football game too.
Okay, Coach.
Okay, so right now we're about to take a timeout. Emily is in there, and she's getting ready to roll something. And because it's 12 minutes past 12 o'clock, we agreed that would be the time for the break. So you're watching Strategies for a Living. Guest host Tom Pace with the official host, David McMillan, right here live from Bossier Parish Community College. And proud to be with you. And we're going to take a minute or so. We'll be right back. We're going to follow up the room in the past with the room today and the room in the future. Don't anybody go away.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Khe Sanh. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
I'm 5'11", barely 5'4".
I weigh about 170 pounds.
Brown eyes. Blue eyes.
Brown hair.
Gray hair.
I'm a baseball fanatic.
I'm a wife.
A mom.
A sister.
And a grandfather.
I'm a bodybuilder.
I'm a research analyst.
Small business owner.
Teacher.
Dance fitness instructor.
Film and television actor.
I'm an office clerk.
I'm a copywriter.
I'm a veteran.
I have a prosthetic leg.
I have multiple sclerosis.
I have lupus.
Cerebral palsy.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
I'm blind.
And I'm working in a job I love.
I love.
Because I was given a chance.
Because I was given a chance.
To contribute my skills and talents.
To show my disability is only one part of who I am.
Who I am.
Who I am.
At work, it's what people can do that matters.
For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
And welcome back. I just looked up there. David, did you see us up there? Well, I'm there.
I see, Tom.
It's good.
It hasn't been that long.
No, and that's very good because that's more than the referees did. Anyway, welcome back at Strategies for a Living. I'm your guest host, strategist Tom Pace from the Talk of the Town. Sitting next to me is the man who created Strategies for a Living. His name is David McMillan, and you've got all those alphabets after your name. Or what are you, a registered clinical therapist or
LPC, LMFT, licensed professional counselor, licensed marriage and family therapist.
We talked about those 3 rooms. We talked about the
Yeah,
past.
before you so rudely interrupted and called a timeout, we were talking about, we all live psychologically and emotionally in a 3-room house, and this is in our conscious mind now. And it's very, very important because at the conscious level of our mind, we get to choose. The more conscious we are, the more we live life fully. So many of us spend a lot of time in the past where we get stuck. Things are illuminated. I can see very clearly, oh, if I had only moved this pair of glasses or this phone, then this wouldn't happen and this wouldn't happen and I wouldn't be here. But I go to move the phone in the past and it won't move. Nothing moves in the past.
Because it's already happened.
Because it's happened. And so if I spend too much time in there, I get angry and depressed. In the future, it's not like somebody has illuminated, it's like somebody has filled that room with fog, heavy fog. You ever been close to your house driving? Maybe you're in your neighborhood and you're driving, you know right where you are, but there's heavy fog. How do you feel on the inside?
I feel anxious.
Nervous and anxious.
It happened to me the other day, actually.
Okay. Yeah,
I went past my house.
We had some heavy fog the other morning, evening and morning. That's what it's like in the room of the future. You can't see very far. And so you spending too much time in there, you get anxious and stressed. Now, we have only 3 rooms, so we're going to spend time in all 3 rooms. That's not a question. And we do need to go into the past some and learn from maybe the things that have happened to us. We do need to go and use the room of the future and make plans and goals. But the big room, the room of the present, our tools are there, our workbench is there, everything we need to live is in that room of the present. So doesn't it make good sense that we want to spend 80% or more of our time in the present, in the here and now? Maybe 10% of our time or so, divided, 10 to 20% of our time divided between the past and the future.
It makes good sense.
The problem is that most of us, because we don't have an idea, we don't understand those 3 rooms, we end up then spending just the opposite of that. If you talk to people and you listen to conversation, a lot of us spend a great deal of time in the past or in the future. And when we do that, we are, we're tying ourselves to anger or depression or to anxiety. We need to make a choice. We need to make a decision to come back into the here and now. In the here and now, in the present, if I want to change where those glasses and phone is, I can make that choice.
Or I can move it back over here.
That's right. We can manipulate, which we can't do in those other 2 rooms. So it's very, very important that we make the conscious choice to spend as much time as we can in the present. That's the only place we live.
And that brings us to the conundrum that we all deal with. It's 12:18 right now, so that gives us we're 10 minutes, and we're going to go until 22. Is that right? 22 or 25? Somebody tell me. 25. Okay, so we've got 7 minutes, David. The most important thing is the present. Those people that passed, that were murdered,
right,
cold-blooded, were they living in the present? They were living their lives
sure,
to be with the loved ones. Had they processed that could be my last day? I don't know. You don't know.
Sure.
But the question is, are you sure of where you're going to be when the roll is called up yonder, as they say? Mm-hmm. You said a lot of people are scared of death. My theory is they're not scared, they're apprehensive. They have no written guarantee. We seem to want a written guarantee. I buy the car, I got a guarantee. Mm-hmm. It's going to last till this, and then I can redo it.
Right.
We want a written guarantee from God that this is what happens when we get there, but there is no written guarantee. It's in a book that we refer to as the Bible.
Right.
So how do you make that transition from this could be the last day, who are you going to call, what are you going to say? And you got one call. So who would you call, David?
Well, I would pick up my phone and call my kids and make the use the feature that allows me to connect one with another and talk to more than one person at a time. Got one phone call, it's going to be to my 3 kids. Yeah.
And I think most people, if you examine their heart of hearts, children will be first.
Yeah.
If you don't have children, maybe a spouse,
Right.
or a loved one, or a partner, or someone
Right.
that would be the one that would be the go-to person.
It's all about love. In any case, it's all about who's most important to you and who do you value and love most in your life.
If you go back to Todd Beamer on that plane that was destined to crash,
Right.
he had one call.
Right.
He had one call. Believe it or not, Todd Beamer had one call. That plane, they were about to hijack it from the hijackers, run it into the ground so it would not kill others, and he called his wife.
Right.
And then they heard those infamous words, "Let's roll."
Right.
He knew what was going to happen.
Well, I don't know that he knew. I think they were trying to take the plane back from the hijackers.
I think he had
certainly he had he knew a possibility
I'm
of
saying
what happened.
there were
Yeah.
so many people on that plane that were calling loved ones. I
Right.
just wanted to tell you I loved you.
Right.
So is that what we need to look to every day? Like when I leave the house in the mornings, and I don't know about you guys, I'll tell my wife I love you. And a lot of times it's lip service, or it's a habit. But when I see her or I welcome her, I tell her I love her, because I'm not guaranteed the next minute.
No, and that's the whole point. It's how conscious am I of telling the people that truly do mean something in my life, communicating to them that they do mean something in my life. Even between friends, if I'm in a conversation with you, to say, sometimes you make me mad as all get out,
Yes.
but I love you, Tom.
Well, I love you too, David.
So, that human interaction, the present, is what's important, because that's all we have. That's all we're guaranteed is right now.
Well, right now we've got 2 minutes. So I'm going to give you 90 seconds. I'll take 30. You've got 90 seconds, David. How do you want to wrap this up? What's important today, and what do you want to leave the viewers with?
Well, I do want to invite every viewer to, if you have not sampled the radio program, Strategies for Living, to tune in, because every evening, Carla McCormick, my co-host, who is a provisional licensed professional counselor herself, and I talk about issues of body, mind, spirit, our relationship.
7 to 8 o'clock in the evening.
7 p.m. to 8. We actually come on at 7:05 right after the news.
Right.
And we begin the day. We're on Keel, so all day long, Keel has the likes of Robert and Aaron in the morning, and Rush Limbaugh right now, and Sean Hannity in the afternoon. So there's a lot of political talk.
You have 1 minute.
But we come on every day and say we're here making radio healthy again, because our hour is about stopping all of the political rhetoric, all of the talk of the day, and giving a little bit to ourselves. How do we live a healthy, happy life? That's what Strategies for Living is all about. News Radio 710 Keel, or on the Keel app, or Keel.com.
And so that wraps another day in history. This day, the 28th of January, 2019, Strategies for Living. I'm Tom Pace, the host of the Talk of the Town. You can go on my website, which is shrevetalk.com, and see the various interviews I've done. But the most important thing is your relationship with your loved ones and our Lord and Savior. That's my belief. But till we meet again next Monday, on behalf of the man here who developed Strategies for Living, David McMillan, I'm Tom Pace. Blue skies, green lights, God love you. We'll see you next Monday right here at Bossier Parish Community College, Strategies for Living.